Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy, is it the Saturn and Uranus conjunction today? Hey, Veronique. I think it's today. Um, Whatever that means for you. I'm not sure. That's the beauty of it. You get to decide what it means. Hey, Kenny. I'm just loving y'all that are in it. Like, this is what, day 9? Are we on day 9? I think day 9. And I love, Elizabeth, hi. I love that so many of the same folks are showing up. Of course, I'm always happy to see new folks too, but it's just really wonderful. Hey, Erin, to see, I don't know, just like a community gathering. And I love that. I think that's really, really beautiful. Excuse me. Thank you, as always. Continued gratitude and thanks for the support. Hey, Jolene, for energetic support, emotional support, psychological support, intellectual support, financial support. All of it is so meaningful. And I'm really, really, really so grateful for it. And I'm just here. I'm just happy that you're here. So let's just make that clear. I have no expectations of how you arrive, if you arrive, the state in which you are here. I just am glad that you're here. I'm glad you're curious. I'm glad you're willing. I'm glad you're moving into deeper spaces within yourself. Because that's the thing, right? I see this a lot, people yearning for a deeper, richer, more rewarding, more satisfying, more fulfilling life, more fulfilling experience. And they look around at the world, right? This external reflection. And they're saying, like, there's got to be more than this. There's got to be something else. When is it my turn? What is it? Ba, 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 ba. Hey, Nicole. And here's what I have realized, and it's very simple. I had an old boss that used to say, it's common sense, but we all know that sense is not common. And I often remind myself of that. Hey, Cleo. But this, how is it that I want to put this? The deeper you are willing to go within yourself, the richer your external experience is going to be. If you are, let's just use a scale of 100, 0 being like zero investment, I'm basically dead, I might be comatose, or I may actually be like a rock, right? We talk a lot about this idea of consciousness, and I hear people say everything has consciousness. No, I believe everything is consciousness, right? This is a little piece of moldavite. There's just as much consciousness in this as there is in me. It's just a different form. So the deeper you are willing to explore your inner world, your inner landscape, the more rewarding and fulfilling and the more depth you're going to get from the reflection, because this is only doing one thing. It's reflecting what's going on in here back to you. So if you desire a deeper experience out there, the number one surefire guaranteed way to achieve, to create, to summon, to nurture a deeper, richer experience is to have a deeper and richer experience. Oh my God, these fungus gnats are driving me crazy. To have a deeper and richer experience with yourself. Because if you're only willing, like, let's say spirit goes from 1 to 100. I know it's an infinite expression. It's hard to clarify, but just for the sake of logic, for this conversation, let's just say it goes from 0 to 100. So 0 would be, you're a rock, you're and what we would call an inanimate object. You're part of the mineral kingdom or whatever. And then up to 100 would be spirit, right? Source itself. And so then let's say the human experience is somewhere around the 20% mark, right? Again, I'm just making this shit up. Please do not write this down and say, well, Amar said that out of 0 to 100, humans are at 20. No, that's not what I'm saying. This is just an example. I know how y'all internet fuckers are. You love to take shit out of context and turn it into something that it was not. So, if you're only willing to go to 20, again, we are in a free will reality. You will not, you cannot be forced to do anything. So if you're only willing to go to 20, then spirit says, cool, let's hang out at 20. You know that it goes all the way to 100, but if 20 is all you want, then 20 is all you get. So the range of your life is from 0 to 20. And you think that's all there is. And then you start to ask questions. And then you start to look a little bit deeper. And then you start to say, oh, is that true? How do I know? And my answer would be, how does it feel? We may not know what truth is, but we know what it's not. We know bullshit when we feel it. We know a lie when we're receiving it. We know an illusion when it presents itself to us on some level. Welcome, Tasha. So, the deeper you are willing to go within yourself, the richer your external reflection will become. Think of it like any skill, right? When I was first learning how to cook and bake, well, bake really, because cooking I just kind of grew up doing. So I never really learned how to do that. I was just taught from a very young age. But baking, specifically like higher end, more complicated viennoiserie and like croissant and all of those, really, really technically precise baked goods. When you begin, it's the same ingredients, right? The same ingredients are going in your cake that are going in your croissant for the most part, right? Flour, sugar, water, salt, fat. But it is your understanding of it. It is your depth of knowledge. It is the skills that you have curated and cultivated over your exploration and your willingness to try and to go into places. So if you want a deeper, richer, more satisfying experience, you got to be willing to go beyond 20. So many of us have been seduced by this fast food, mobile device culture where we just go, oh, boop, here it is. It'll be, on my doorstep in 24 hours. Okay, cool. But that's not how the fucking world works. That's not how it works in a material reality. There must be some sort of presence. There must be some sort of investment of yourself, your focus, your energy, your awareness, your beliefs. These are what I call your inherent resources, right? We talk a lot about resources, right? Money, stuff, things, and those are wonderful and a really important part of the physical reality. But the resources that we all have access to, the resources that we are all born with, the resources that everybody who's walking around in one of these bodies is connected to, are the illusion of time, are the concept of your awareness, of your investment, of your belief, your emotional support, your intellectual support, your energetic support. And as you begin to divest your attention and move into new areas of interest, or as you begin to invest yourself in things, the reality of your landscape starts to change. It reminds me of when I was a makeup artist. I was a makeup artist for about 20 years. And when I first started, getting like actual training by other, I'm adept, I can figure it out. I'm a creative individual, I'm very artistic. But when I started to learn technique, when I started to learn methods, when I started to learn practical application of skills, suddenly everything became about line and color and shape. Suddenly, I couldn't not notice someone's makeup, not out of criticism, but just looking at what did they do and how did they do it. So wherever you focus will expand. Whatever you point, just think of your awareness as a spotlight, right? The beauty of your awareness is it is the one aspect of our humanness, of our beingness, that can pivot internally as well as externally. So my awareness, I can be looking at what's going on inside. I can even be stuck in a memory. I can be projecting myself into the future and freaking out. Whatever the case is, wherever my awareness goes is where my energy will flow. So when there's something that you're curious about, you want to open up, you want to investigate, you want to explore, just imagine that you're pivoting that spotlight of your awareness, of your focus on that area. Whether it is internal or external ultimately doesn't matter because you're going to get there anyway, right? It's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Chicken or the egg? I don't know. Did it happen because I was aware of it out here and I made changes inside, or did it happen because I made changes inside and then saw them reflected out here? The answer is yes. But when you are willing to be curious about what exists beyond the confines of the boundaries of your known experience, that's when life starts to show up in a new way. Again, it's a free will reality. Spirit is not making you do anything. And so the field, like I talked about a couple of days ago, right? That field of unconditional love, the field of neutrality that holds all things together, that field is alive. It is always pulsing and with you and aware and responding and always in like billions of fluctuations per second are occurring with this field in response to you, because remember, you are the center of your universe. Every particle is the center of your universe. So you are the central point, and everything is moving out and in from one central point where you stand. And so when you become curious, what else is there? What's that over there? Oh, yeah, I heard that thing. What was that? The minute that you have a question, a query, a curiosity, your field starts to fluctuate. Your energy changes. Guess what? Then the field starts to respond differently. It's like you are the key and the external world is the lock. And depending upon the key you are using, the lock is going to do what it can do to match that frequency. So all you got to do, I have said this a billion times, and I will say it a billion more. The only two things that are required for a successful spiritual journey are willingness and curiosity. That's it. Those two things, that's it. You just got to be willing. You just got to be curious. And it doesn't matter how you show up. Again, this is where I sometimes dip my toe back into the criticism of the love and light. Not because there's anything wrong with love and light, but this idea that it's this idea that I'm only supposed to go into certain places, this idea that I'm only supposed to talk about specific things, this idea that there are some things that are off limits to me. No, you can go as deep, as far, as wide, as high as you want to go. But you have to give yourself permission. Because when you give yourself permission, you are essentially giving the field permission. But the more you continue to deny and obstruct and exclude yourself from your life, it's just this backlog. The energy's still there. The energy's still coming in. This is the thing. Life is going to be lived. That's the whole point. And so the choice that we have is it going to be lived through me by default, or is it going to be lived through me intentionally and on purpose? Are you feeling this? Are you vibing? Give me an emoji in the chat if you're connecting with this. By the way, if you're new here and would like to participate in the chat, please just hit the subscribe button. That's all you have to do. I have the chat set to subscribers only. So all you got to do is subscribe, and then you can participate in the chat. So once we realize that the real power, the real wealth, the real abundance is our energy, our focus, our awareness, our investment of our beliefs, and our emotional, intellectual, and energetic support. And the minute we begin to divest them, the minute that we begin to question, the minute we begin to go, I don't know if this is what I really want, things start to change. The field goes on alert. Ooh, Amar's moving in a new direction. Ooh, there was a ripple. Ooh, there was something happened. Okay, what is this, right? So it's this constant, eternal, infinite dance with yourself and the places that you invest your energy. So again, if you don't like what you see in the mirror, you don't change it by screaming at the mirror or trying to, do something with the reflection. You do it by going in here. It's a very simple concept. If you think of a mirror, this was inspired by a Bashar video that I saw, I don't know, in the past couple of weeks. And he says, if you really, this is a reflection, right? This is a mirror. That's what it is. It's just a projection, and it's reflecting to you what you are projecting into it. It's the world's, it is the ultimate echo chamber. You are going to receive a return on what you are putting back out there, what you're putting out there. So Bashar says, it's really simple. If you're looking out at the world and you don't feel like the world is smiling back at you, that's because you're not smiling. Because the reflector does one thing only. It reflects. And it is impersonal, it is impartial, it is non-judgmental, it is neutral, right? Unconditional love is a neutral state. You are simply being shown exactly what is active within you right now. And I think something that gets a little confusing is the reflection is an aggregate. You could say, well, Amar, I'm here in a life with no lover and no money. Hello, me a week and a half ago. That's not what I think. That's not what I feel. That's not what I believe. On some level, it is, yeah. On some level, it is, yeah. You may not say specifically, oh, I can't wait to be broke today. Oh, I can't wait to not have money today. We often confuse this idea of choice and free will as like it's a drive-through at the fast food restaurant. It's about your vibration. It's about your frequency. It's about your belief system. All of those things about your choices. It's about your actions. It's about where you focus that spotlight. And all of that is coming back to you as an aggregate version of your reality. So you just got to start to become curious. How else could I live? What other ways are there? What else is possible? My favorite one this year, what haven't I tried yet? What haven't I done here yet? So it is the power of your curiosity that activates the path to the answer. Do you understand that? The answer exists, as all things do. The potential for anything and everything you could possibly ever imagine or conceive of exists. The fact that you can have a thought about it or ask a question about it or dream or fantasize or imagine it means that it exists. So it's impossible essentially to imagine something that's impossible. But the response, the experience of it cannot come to you until it is chosen. And it is chosen through many ways. But one of the most effective ways is simply to question about it, ask about it, wonder about it, be curious about it, start to lift up the corners and look under the bed and look behind the curtains and pull, that's what brings it to life. Think of it like a seed. I do a lot of gardening, a lot of flower farming. I took a flower farming course a couple years ago. You've heard me talk about this. The seeds exist. I can order packets of them from a million different websites. Here's a seed packet right here. So here's a seed packet. One of my favorite tomato, Sunrise Bumblebee. By the way, if you want a really good cherry tomato variety, Sunrise Bumblebee. And Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds is one of my favorite seed companies. Okay. There's my little free commercial for Baker Creek. So tomato seeds, any seed, right? It exists in a packet. This is a packet, and it's just kind of floating out there in the world right now. It's floating out there in the reality. And I go online and I go, ooh, that looks like a cool tomato variety. I've never tried that before. I want to try a new cherry variety. It's a cherry variety. They're about this big, give or take. I want to know what that tastes like. I want to know what that looks like. I want to know how it grows for me. I want to know what it's like to experience growing Sunrise Bumblebee tomatoes. Bam, you order it, and it is immediately on its way. And then you get to see the packet, and this is just potential still. This is like in the tarot, this is the ace, right? The ace of cups, the wand, this, whatever the suit is. This is the ace. This is potential. This is the seed. This is the divine saying, here's your seed. But it's still a seed. This isn't a tomato, but you plant the seed and you give it the right conditions. You give it what it needs. You baby it, you nurture it, you tend to it, you love on it, you look at it, you dream about it, you get excited about it. And over time, guess what? It starts to sprout. Guess what? It's going to do the thing that it was built to do, made to do. Your reality is exactly the same. My guides used to tell me this all the time, and especially in the beginning. Ooh, that is so bitter. Oh my God, that lemon is so bitter. Lots of bile production for me this morning. My guides used to tell me this all the time. Like I used to get so frustrated with my guides. And I used to say, like, what do you want me to do? This was me a week and a half ago. Watch What the WTF episode 1. But what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? Just tell me and I'll do it. Just tell me where to go. Where's the map? Where's the, just tell me. Just tell me. Please just tell me and I'll do it. I'll do anything. And their answer, what's the next step? And their answer was the same every single time. There is no next step. There's only the step that's in front of you now. And the reason that the next step can't present itself is because in a generative, creative reality that is coherent, cohesive, what that means is like things stick together, like attracts like, the same kinds of things like to hang out together. That is the self-organizing principle of the universe. That's how it stays afloat and alive, is the geometry that governs it ensures that like hangs out with like. So when you are activating the field of potential through your questions and your investigations, that's when it starts to show up. And so if you're sitting there saying, well, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? That is just usually a sign that you haven't taken the step that's in front of you. And the reason is there is no next step. There's only the step that's in front of you now. Because in a reality of infinite potential, what you do in this moment opens the path to the next moment and on it goes. I'm going to give you an example. So wherever you are sitting right now, I'm sitting in my chair at my desk in the guest room in my sister's house. From where I sit now, there are a million different ways, actually an infinite number of ways that I can get up from this chair. I can do it with one eye closed, one eye open. I can do it without my glasses. I can do it with shirt on, shirt off. I can do it unbuttoned. But I mean, literally, there are an infinite number of ways that I can get up and move from this chair. And that's just taking into account the things that I can activate. There's also some fruit flies in this room. There's also some plants in this room. There's also a ceiling fan going on. So there are all sorts of other things that are active in my external environment that are also going to influence the infinite number of ways that I can get up and proceed from this chair. And every single one of them will create a new potential. Every single one. And until, this is the superposition, this is zero. For you numerology nerds, this is the zero. This is the unfertilized egg. This is the superposition. This is when Schrodinger's cat is alive and dead. From where you stand, sit, lie, wherever you are, there are an infinite number of ways. No, opposite things don't attract. Opposite things are present all of the time. From where you sit, you can get up and go in an infinite number of ways. And the minute that you decide, the minute that I say, well, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it with my eyes closed and I'm going to hop on one leg all the way to the door. Now, suddenly, every single other potential has collapsed because I made a choice, a decision, a judgment. I told a story. I had an expectation. All of those things collapse all of the other potentials. So curiosity is the way to try before you buy. Being curious about it. What is it when I see that or hear that, something within me opens up? What is it? I'm curious. When I think about that, I get really, really excited. Why? I'm curious. When I look at that or hear that, I get really freaked out and terrified and triggered. Why? Curiosity is like speed dating. I don't have to commit. I'm talking to you for 2 minutes. Am I into it or not? My gut will tell me. It's the same thing. Possibility and potential exist all around you all of the time. But it's what you focus upon and it's the beliefs that you bring into the room with you that tell the energy what to do. I had a mentor years ago say, Amar, expect what you find. That is the recipe. You want the recipe for a life free from disappointment? Expect what you find. Just show up and accept what is there, observe, see, allow, and expect that. So you can play. Spirit, yes, King. Spirit loves it when we play. I wonder what would happen if I did this. I wonder what would happen if I didn't do that. I wonder why I often have that response every time I hear this thing. So you get curious about it without committing to it, without overly investing yourself in it. You get a little taste, you get a little sample, and here's the trick. The way that you feel, your body, your mind, your energy, all of it is telling you this is what the experience of it is going to be rooted in. The thing that you're experiencing as you're looking at it, thinking about it, receiving it, watching it, whatever, is the baseline. It's telling you this is kind of the fundamental ingredients that are here. If you're watching it, if you're looking at it, if you're curious about it, and everything that you receive in return is exciting, it lights you up, it makes you joyful, it makes you giddy, you shed a little tear because you're so overwhelmed with inspiration. If that was the response of my material self, my mind, my body, and my emotions and my field, if that was the response of my material self, fuck yes, I'm going to do that. And when I'm looking at something and I'm thinking about it, talking about it, wondering about it, and it feels like, oh, I don't want to do that. No, no, I don't want to do that. Pay attention to that. It's telling you the current state that you are in, if you proceed, it's going to feel like a slog. It's going to feel like carrying 100 pounds of wet cement in a backpack up the hill. So that tells you, okay, well, maybe I don't do it now. If this is something that I really want to do, I'll put it to the side and I'll look at it. And does it feel like it today? Maybe. Let's look. Nope. So you get curious. It's like pots on the stove. You lift the lid, you smell it, you taste it. Is it ready? Yes or no? You'll know. But you don't have to commit. You don't have to build your whole life around it. You don't have to invest thousands of dollars and hours into it. All you have to know is that when I think about it, I like what I feel. I like what I sense. I like what I see. Here's the other piece. There are going to be things in our human experience, until further notice, there are going to be things in our human experience. I don't know if I really want to do that. Oh, God, I said I'd do it, but I don't want to. Look, it's not saying you can never do anything that feels a little funky or sideways. And it's not saying that you would only ever do things that light you up. I mean, that would be the ideal. But in the in between, while we're on the bridge, moving from the old way to the new way, which is really the old way, there are going to be some things that we got to do that maybe we're not entirely jazzed about, and we can still do it. It's just a matter of being honest with ourselves, saying, okay, I said I'd do this. I don't want to, but I'm going to. Okay, cool. Right? So again, it's your intention that really matters. So, well, mother of dogs, that's a good question. What if there's a sense of duty showing up for family? The number one thing that the undercurrent of that question, and not just you, mother, everybody that asks that question, but what about my family? Without fail, 100% of the time. I'm not saying this is the only reason, but without fail, this is a reason. When we feel that we have to, it's because we have forgotten one thing. Our family members are also sovereign creator beings who are just as powerful as we are, who are also here to live the life they have chosen to live. Period. 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 So once you know that, then you realize, okay, my relationship with my family is what I have chosen. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that choice was unconscious, right? I talk about this all the time when you're 5 years old and your uncle says, oh, don't fall in love. Love is for suckers. And you go, oh, okay. And then you spend the next 30 of your years of your life believing that unconsciously and wondering why you can't find love. Well, it's because you believe that love is for suckers. You never stop to question that belief. You never stop to investigate it. You never stop to dismantle it and go, is that really true? I don't know if that's the kind of world I want to live in. And I don't think I really believe it, because what you didn't know at 5 years old is your uncle had all of his own fucking issues about love and relationships, right? So when you get to a point where you're not really liking what's going on, stop. Take a minute. Close your eyes and take a breath. Drop in here and just sit with it. How does it feel? What happens in my body when I think about it? And it might take a minute, right? As we're coming back to our center and we're remembering how to be authentic and to move with our own natural rhythms and cycles, it might take some time for you to block out all those other voices. This is why I frequently take breaks from social media, because other people who are also sharing this kind of information, I may love what they share, I may love their vibe, their flavor, their message, but then I receive it and I go, wait, am I sharing something similar because that's what I'm really receiving, or because I got it from them? So quietude and solace and stillness are really important, especially in the beginning of your spiritual journey, because you got to remember what your own voice feels and sounds like, because truth is a feeling thing first. You know it when you feel it. Only you know what truth feels like. And the feelings that you're receiving when you're focusing on thinking about, engaging with anyone, anything, no matter what it was, the feelings that you receive are your indication of what is currently present for you in this packet. So you go, I'm still curious about those seeds, but I'm not going to order them yet. I want to sit with that a little bit. I want to do a little bit more research. Maybe it's not what I thought it was. And then I come back. I go, is it today? Ooh, wow. Okay, sunrise bumblebee. Now I know a little bit more. Now I have a little bit of information. Now I have a little bit more insight. Okay, it's feeling more positive, right? So you dance with it. You play with it. You see what's there. You give it a chance. Yes, Kenny, moving from codependency to interdependency, right? Interdependency is my vegetable garden. They need me as much as I need them. Yeah, the seeds can do what they do naturally. And if I were to just scatter them randomly around the garden, maybe 20 to 30% of them would do what they're supposed to do or do what they're capable of doing. But if I make the intention really clear, if I set up really, really healthy boundaries around my garden plot, if I ensure that I am planting them into soil that is pure and fertile and rich and deep, I make sure that the water and the fertilizer and the position under the sun, all of that stuff, I give them the best possible opportunity to thrive and to flourish. And I also know that when I'm dancing with spirit, there and nature, there are going to be things that are not in my control. I can do all of my homework. I can plot and plan and build the best garden bed you have ever seen in the history of gardening, and things still might not go the way that I hope that they would. And that's okay. Doesn't mean I'm a bad gardener. Doesn't mean that I suck at gardening. Doesn't mean I'm never going to garden again. It just means, okay, wasn't meant to be. Didn't happen. Let it go. It doesn't fucking matter. The key to healthy manifestation is if your desire is at 100, your willingness to release it and be unattached must also be at 100. That's the key. Yes, King, exactly. It's still going to rain sometimes. It's still going to get windy. Spring here, all of the flowering trees are in full bloom. Things are starting to sprout up, and it froze last night. It wasn't a hard freeze, so the trees are going to be okay. But there's nothing that anybody can do about that. So you just surrender. You just let go. And that's what interdependency is. I rely on my vegetables to feed me. So I am going to give them unconditionally as much of what they need as I can possibly comprehend and manage to do. Because the more of that I put into them, the more goodness and crops and deliciousness and food and seeds for next year's crop they're going to give me in return. That's interdependency, right? I'm not dependent upon the garden. There are other ways I can get the food that I need. So when we allow ourselves to be part of the cycle, when we allow ourselves to be part of the experience, when we allow ourselves to be in it and just be curious about it, whether or not you are aware of it, you are here because you wanted to be. You are here because you chose to. Again, we're in a free will reality. That is not a that's not a gray thing. That's black or white. So just be curious, just see, just play. And if it doesn't happen today, maybe it happens tomorrow, maybe it happens next year. Just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it won't ever happen. I've got I've got so many old files, old ideas, old beginnings of things that I just hang on to them. I look at them every once in a while. Sometimes I throw them away and say, oh, that's never going to go anywhere. But there are some that are like this really beautiful collection of ideas and notes and beginnings of things. We'll see. We'll see. So be curious. Be willing and hold on loosely, right? That 38 special song, that is my freaking mantra. Just hold on loosely. Just play with it. Just see. Just see. Yeah, that's it for today. As always, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for continuing to show up really for yourself. I mean, I love having a group of people to talk to, but this is for you. right? This is you showing up for yourself. This is you following a call on some level to see what that dude is talking about. Tomorrow, ooh, thank you, mother. I appreciate that. Tomorrow, we will, well, not yet, Carrie, but that's just a belief. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same channel. Continue to share the love. Like, share, subscribe. Donation links are in the bottom if you're interested. Also, the link to my book on Amazon is in there. And if you are, if you have purchased my book on Amazon, I would love a review. If you took some time, that would be amazing. Oh, and through the end of April, all of my sessions are 20% off. Use code SPRING20 at checkout to get your discount. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.